Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We will begin shortly. Just a reminder, if you could please silence any technology, cell phones, iPads, fax machines, cassette players, record players, anything that has technology connected to it. Good morning. My name is Jim Bove, Chief of Public Affairs here, and on behalf of everyone at the Madison VA Hospital and clinics, thank you so much for joining us today as we honor Sergeant First Class Lynn Mitkos. We have a few guests we want to recognize. Please stand if you're able when you hear your name. From our hospital leadership team, our Executive Director, Christine Kleckner. From our community partners in the back, Dane County Veteran Service Officer Dan Connery. Columbia County Veteran Service Officer and a member of our selection committee, Rebecca Carey. Also from our selection committee, Alan Krommelmacher. And we're also proud to welcome past Hall of Hero inductees, the spouse of our most recent inductee, Lance Corporal Terry Christensen, Catherine Christensen. And 2009 inductee, U.S. Army Lieutenant Jim Morgan. And lastly, we especially want to thank and welcome all the friends and family of Sergeant First Class Mitkos who have come from Illinois and North Carolina and have made the trip to be with you today. So we're excited to have them here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, please rise for the national anthem and presentation of colors by American Legion Post 245 from Cross Plains and American Legion Post 501 from Madison. Veterans, feel free to salute. Family and friends, please place your hand over your heart and remain standing until the colors have exited the auditorium. The anthem is being performed today by Madison VA employee Rachel Nadig. Parade the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Awesome job. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, I welcome our chaplain, Collie Dehart, to give the invocation.
Please join me for a moment of invocation, prayerfully if that is your tradition. Let me begin with saying how grateful I am to everyone present here today. Grateful that you have set aside this time and to gather in this place. We are here to celebrate the life and service of Lynn Mitkos. Amidst a world that all too often magnifies our distinctions, let us today celebrate our profound unity as human beings. Winston Churchill once said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." This is the legacy of our veterans. In the words of his daughters, Lynn is the rock of the family. He is kind, he is compassionate, and he is the first to offer help. These characteristics are the best of humanity. In his service, he strived to do the right thing and always has been a protector. Today, we add his name, his plaque, to the Hall of Heroes. Today, he joins the ranks of those he reveres. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your dedication to excellence. Thank you for being a shining example of what it means to be a veteran.
Before we jump into today's ceremony, we'd like to share a short video introducing you to our Hall of Heroes program.
This is one thing that we can do as a Veterans Hospital that St. Mary's or UW Hospital just, they don't have something like this. This is special. This is for our veterans, for our staff, for their family members. And it's a way of paying tribute that they're so well deserved.
I joined the VFW in Middleton post 8216, and for me that was a changing point in my life. It was brought together a bunch of similar people that have experienced war and probably changed their lives forever. Someone there said, well, you have a Silver Star, we need to do something to recognize that, and the rest is history. I hang on the wall, and the thing, I guess if nobody would have ever done that, identify me, it'd still be hidden.
This is their chance. It's going to mean so much to have their family, friends, and actually be in a safe environment versus their initial wards. It could have been right after action. Some general could have pinned on the medal, and it's forgotten. But to have a ceremony like this, I think it means a lot to them. It meant so much to family, VA staff, everybody that knew the veterans just got to hear their stories.
And it's in a great place where everybody sees that goes through there, and you know, the workforce at the VA know you. They've read your story. They've seen you, and they know who you are and what you have done. There aren't many things in life like that.
In 2002, Dr. John Hofer, then the chief of dentistry here at the hospital, began the Hall of Heroes program to honor and recognize local veterans who served during wartime and have been awarded military decorations for valor, heroism, and specific combat actions. It serves as a reminder of what our courageous veterans have endured, and it honors the sacrifices that they've made. Since the initial ceremony, we've inducted 21 veterans representing 4 branches of service. U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Lynn Mitkos joins the following distinguished veterans in our Hall of Heroes: Sergeant Robert Botts, Captain Donald Heiliger, Sergeant David Brinzel, Corporal James Stevenson, Private First Class James Anagonistopoulos, Lieutenant James Duncan, Sergeant Harry Dickerson, Lieutenant Jim Morgan, Sergeant Joshua Brennan, Private First Class Ralph Warner, Sergeant First Class Thomas Renault, Staff Sergeant Daniel Bush, Captain Scott Alwyn, Sergeant Thomas Feeney, Lieutenant Norman Morozic, Sergeant Akira Toki, Captain Tony Paulson, Colonel Laverne Griffin, Lieutenant Marcia Gates, Private First Class Dennis Stoppelworth, and Lance Corporal Terry Christensen. Today, we are so honored to induct Sergeant First Class Lynn Mitkos. Each inductee has a very unique story and a very powerful story of bravery and patriotism, and his story does not disappoint. He willingly enlisted into the Army during the height of the Vietnam War, knowing good and well he was going to likely be put in harm's way. It was 1964. It's the year the Beatles arrived in the U.S. as he was preparing to leave. Our country was introduced to new inventions like G.I. Joe, Pop-Tarts, and the Ford Mustang, which you could get at your local dealership for just $2,400. You can't even get the door for that much. Now, television sprang to life new shows like The Munsters, Gilligan's Island, Jeopardy, and the animated TV Christmas special, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was 1964 when the Rolling Stones came to the U.S. and when actress Elizabeth Taylor divorced her fourth husband. But not to worry, she married her fifth husband 11 days later. It's true, look it up. It's in Wikipedia. It was 1964 when My Fair Lady won Best Picture, the Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand topped the charts, and the first Arby's opened. It was 1964 when many left for Vietnam and many didn't return. It was 1964 when a young 17-year-old Lynn Mitkos enlisted into the Army during a time when those lucky enough to return were ostracized, were spit on. You shared a story of that happening to him. Were called names without any understanding of what they were encountering, and certainly no understanding of what they carry with them still today. Sir, I try to make it every time without tears. It never fails, so I apologize. Today is your day, and I know you don't like the spotlight. In fact, I breathed the biggest sigh of relief when I saw him walk through the door because I was convinced he wasn't going to show up. It is our day to honor you, and thank you for letting us honor you, for your service, for your patriotism, and for your unshakable loyalty to a country that at times may not have seemed like they appreciated you. We appreciate you. With that in mind, I'd like to introduce our Executive Director, Christine Kleckner. She's been with Madison VA since 1991 and was appointed as our Executive Director in October 2023. Please join me in welcoming Christine Kleckner.
Good morning, and thank you for being with us today as we honor Sergeant First Class Lynn Mitkos. As Jim mentioned, Lynn enlisted during wartime. What he didn't mention, though, are the many sacrifices he made. During his second tour alone, in a span of about 7 months, Lynn was injured 5 different times. He eventually received 5 Purple Hearts, a soldier's medal, and a Bronze Star with V device for his actions at that span. At least twice, he was treated at a field hospital and voluntarily returned to the front lines, never leaving his fellow soldiers behind, returning to battle and even returning to Vietnam for 2 additional tours of duty for a total of 4 years. As he told a reporter back then, he returned because he was needed. As you'll hear shortly, this is just a small time frame of his total years of service. And if that wasn't enough, he served as a recruiter, both formally and informally, even recruiting 4 of his children to follow in his Army footsteps. And his 5th child continues to serve today as his caregiver. We know very well that when someone serves in the military, so do their family and friends. The Mitkos family epitomizes the words public servants. Thank you all for being here today, for having supported your father, and for your service for him and to our country. Lynn, you embody so many things that I appreciate about veterans. You've worn the title of Sergeant First Class. You've worn the title of father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. You've worn the title of a loving husband. But to us, you just wear one title, and that's hero. Now we'll hear Lynn's My Life, My Story. This is a program where staff members interview veterans or their family members to share stories with the medical providers so that they can better know the veteran and provide the best individual care possible. Please join me in welcoming My Life, My Story coordinator, Thor Ringler, to share the story of Sergeant First Class, Lynn Mitkos.
Thank you, Christine. It's an honor to be here, and I just want to thank all of Lynn's kids for taking the time to talk with me. And I hope I got it right here. I'm going to read. I'll just start. We're here today to honor the heroism of one service member, Army Sergeant Lynn Mitkos. His medals and awards speak for themselves. They speak volumes. But behind that story is the story of a dad and the story of a family. I recently spoke with his children about what it meant, what it still means to have him as a father who was a senior drill instructor, a father who did 5 tours in Vietnam and received 5 Purple Hearts. This is that story, their story. As you might expect, Lynn ran a tight ship at home. His daughter Michelle recalls, if we had friends come over and spend the night, he'd be in our room at 6 a.m. doing the bugle call to wake us all up. And we'd be like, wait, what? No, we're not your recruits here. We're not getting up at 6 a.m., Dad. Later on, my friends would tell me, well, we're not spending the night at your house anymore, Michelle. Along the same lines, his daughter Tammy said, Dad, being a senior drill instructor, impacted all of us kids in different ways. Honestly, it scared the crap out of me. But she admits that in high school, we were all raising hell and causing problems. You know how that goes. But he was always there and listened to all sides of the story before reacting. He was just a fabulous dad. Lynn's son, Tim, put it this way. The military was a way of life for us. He held us to a very high standard. We all have those same standards that we grew up with today. Our integrity, our honesty, it was something we lived by. It's a generational lesson that we all got. His youngest daughter, Katrina, had her own MOS in the family. Whenever Lynn got reassigned, she would travel with him to the next duty station and help set up their new house. After shopping at the mall, she remembers crashing on the couch with him and watching TV together till she fell asleep. His daughter Debbie also sees a softer side to her father. He acts tough, but he's always been a pushover. If you want something, you can nudge him and he caves. He was always a marshmallow. He was married to my mom for almost 50 years. She recently passed. He took care of her until her last breath, bathed her, fed her, everything for her. It wasn't supposed to go like that. He always anticipated that he would be the one to go first. All the kids spoke fondly of their mother, Barb, who passed away from ALS 6 years ago. Tim said, I wish she could be here today. With my dad being in the military, she was the backbone that held everyone together. And Tammy wants us to know that if she were here today, she would be the first one to be his biggest cheerleader. She'd be right up here in front, cheering him on, 100%. Along with the burden of that loss, Lynn's children spoke of another burden that her father carries. It was really in my adulthood that I learned a lot more about the things that he went through in Vietnam and the PTSD that he still carries with him. He had flashbacks. He had a job where he worked at a hospital as a parking lot attendant, A med flight came in. It took them 45 minutes to find him. Underneath the desk in a cubbyhole, when he heard that helicopter coming in, all the cars in the parking lot were dead bodies to him. For Michelle, it was only later that she came to understand how much her father had given of himself to serve his country. To be honest with you, I didn't know for a long time how many Purple Hearts he had. I thought he only had 3. When I found out he had 5, I was like, that is insane, that's crazy. I never heard of anybody who had that many. He's always been a hero to us. He paid the price that a lot of people never would. There are so many people who didn't want to join the service. They didn't know what it means to actually give up your life for your country, which my dad almost did many times. It won't come as a surprise to the folks gathered here today that Lynn's military service, his perseverance, his sacrifice, his loyalty, has been an inspiration to his kids. 4 of them ended up following in his footsteps and served in the Army. When Tammy joined at 19, she had to go to court to give guardianship of her daughter to her parents. She still remembers that day. We walked into the courtroom and the judge said, "Hey, Sarge, you got another recruit here, huh?" My dad kind of laughed and said, "Yep." The judge looked at me and asked, "Why are you giving guardianship of your daughter to your recruiter?" And I said, "Because he's my father." I never saw anybody laugh so damn hard in my entire life as that judge. Every war casts its own long shadows. You can feel them in this auditorium today. As many of you know, returning Vietnam veterans were not greeted as heroes in their day. Debbie sees the impact of that today in her dad. He speaks very highly of the VA, but I think his homecoming is still disheartening to him, especially when compared to the support we've given veterans in the wars since then. I think that will always stick in his heart a little bit, the feeling that they were outcasts. I think we're making up for it now, but you can never change the past. When we go out to stores these days and he has his Purple Heart hat on, people will come up and say, "Thank you for your service." It's very humbling, and I think he doesn't know how to respond to that kind of gratitude. It's sad. You almost want to whisper, "Dad, say thank you." We're here today to honor Sergeant Lynn Mitkos, to honor his life, his story, his family, his heroism, but most of all, to say thank you.
I think we're going to require Thor to bring boxes of tissues with him every time he speaks. Thanks, Thor. We'll now hear a little about Lynn from his daughter Tammy, followed by the reading of the Bronze Star citation by his daughter Michelle. Please join me in welcoming Tammy Ennis and Michelle Mitkos.
Good morning. I want to give a little biography of my dad, Len. He was born in St. Louis, Missouri at Jefferson Barracks in 1947. He grew up with the values of hard work, loyalty, and service that would guide him throughout his life. In 1964, he enlisted in the United States Army, beginning a remarkable journey of dedication and courage. He served his first tour in Vietnam from 1965 to 1966, followed by 2 more tours from 1967 to 1969. While home on a 30-day leave in 1968, he met the love of his life, Barbara. The two would go on to build a beautiful life together. He returned for a 4th tour in Vietnam from 1970 to 1971, earning him numerous commendations for his bravery, including 5 Purple Hearts, the Soldier's Medal, and the Bronze Star. After sustaining injuries that led to a collapsed lung, he is unable to re-enlist in 1972. Yet, his commitment to the Army and this country never faded. Together with Barb, he raised 4 daughters and 1 son, 4 of which followed in his footsteps by enlisting in the Army, always providing love, guidance, and strength, even though some were challenging times. In 1980, he returned to the Army as a reservist, later being called back to active duty. He served as a drill sergeant at Fort Knox and later as a recruiter, nurse recruiter, where his leadership and compassion earned him an outstanding record. He concluded his distinguished military career as a station commander in Weatherford, Texas, retiring in 1995. Beyond his military honors and service, he has been an amazing husband, dad, grandfather, and great-grandfather. He's the rock of our family, devoted and always there for anyone in need, never hesitating to lend a helping hand. We are endlessly proud and grateful to call this man our dad, our hero.
I will now read my dad's Bronze Star citation. For heroism in connection with military operations against hostile force in the Republic of Vietnam, Specialist 4 Mitkos distinguished himself by valorous actions on 18 November 1967 while serving as patrol leader on an ambush patrol with Company A, 5th Battalion, 60th Infantry, 9th Infantry Division. Moving to the ambush site, Specialist Mitkos detected a much-used Viet Cong trail and quickly placed his men on both sides of the pathway. The enemy somehow detected the friendly force and lobbed a hand grenade close to their position. Specialist Mitkos immediately directed his men to return fire, and the enemy broke contact. Specialist Mitkos then led his men to another position, and seeing enemy movement to his left flank and rear, poured withering semi-automatic weapons fire into the midst of the insurgents, causing them to break and flee into the jungle. Through Specialist Mitkos' unhesitating actions, the Viet Cong force lost at least one man and killed and wounded many more, with no casualties occurred by the friendly troops. Specialist 4 Mitkos' personal bravery and devotion to duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, the 9th Infantry Division, and the United States Army. Thank you.
Good, he's still here. I now invite Lynn to join Christine on stage for the formal induction and unveiling of the plaque. I now invite Lynn, or no, we already did that. See, I'm so surprised he was still here and he's letting us put him in the spotlight. Please stand if you're able. While serving in the United States Army, Sergeant First Class Lynn Mitkos distinguished himself during combat while serving in Vietnam, earning a Bronze Star with V device for heroism, a Soldier's Medal, and 5 Purple Hearts. Through action and deed, he brought great credit upon himself, his family, his service, and his country. It is our honor to formally induct Sergeant First Class Lynn Mitkos into the William S. Middleton Memorial Veterans Hospital Hall of Heroes. Please remove the cloth. Lynn's plaque will be placed in the Hall of Heroes next to our other valorous veterans, which is down the hallway as you take a right out of here. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. I now, please be seated, sorry.
I want to thank everybody for coming, especially from Illinois, and that it was a great surprise and shock to me. I hope I can repay everybody for coming here by coming in here for them. And that it wasn't it was 5 Purple Hearts, but 4 years. And I was a stand-up pop-out target shooter. Thank you.
He just told me I owe him. I now invite Chaplain DeHart to give our benediction.
In closing, I offer the words of another. This benediction comes from Leah Derlin Jones. For those who came before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love. As we go forth from this time and place, let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Amen.
We again want to thank Lynn's family and friends for joining us and giving us the opportunity to honor him. And thank you for coming and sticking it through. Also, I want to especially thank Stephanie Block, who, like many of our heroes here, she does not like being in the spotlight, but yet she's back there making sure everything runs smoothly. So thank you, Stephanie, for all the work you've done. And I want to thank Channel 3 and Channel 27 for coming out to cover us. So be sure to tune into their newscast today. This concludes the ceremony. We will give the media an opportunity to conduct a few interviews, and then we'll ask the family and friends to stick around so that we can take entirely too many pictures. We do ask that you do try to keep it down, though, during the media interviews. To all those who served in Vietnam, especially you, welcome home. Thank you.